As we settled down on New Year's Day to watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, we were unaware that the year was going to be once more dominated by violence, another workers' strike, and the emergence of the notorious Shankill butchers. Many of the IRA targets were now businessmen, the majority of whom were gunned down at their place of work. Saturday, the 1st of January 1977. A 15-month-old baby boy was killed in a car bomb explosion at Harmon Park, Glengormley near Belfast. The car bomb had been planted by the Irish Republican Army and an inadequate warning given. I was heavily pregnant and still trying to make our new home habitable. We hadn't exactly been given a rousing welcome to our new community. One of our neighbours, who turned out to be the bane of my life and of others, worked out that I was a Catholic. She told another neighbour that it was such a shame to see Catholics moving into the gardens. She assumed we were both Catholic. Many years later, I had to send her a solicitor's letter, as she started making wild accusations about us both. But that's a story for another day. I rarely made a visit into the city. The worry of a bomb going off and the hassle of being searched and waiting in queues to get into shops was too much to contend with at this stage of my pregnancy. We had eventually got the story cheaters working. While it was great to have heat, it was impossible to set them, and as a result they were either belting out heat on a mild day and not enough on a cold day. However, it would be another couple of years before we could afford central heating. Louise and her cousin were now attending play school 3 mornings a week. It gave me a chance to get some rest before the arrival of baby number 2. In those days there were no scans, so it was a complete surprise as to whether we would produce a boy or a girl. It was difficult picking a name, so on a Saturday evening a week before the birth, while watching Starsky and Hutch, we decided on Paul Michael if it was a boy. Starsky's real name. Charlotte if it was a girl. But with the amount of kicking, I was convinced it would be a boy. When it came to the baptism, we added on Samuel after Gordon's dad. On Saturday, the 12th of March 1977, my waters broke, and after a reasonably short labour, Paul Michael Samuel Allen arrived. Husbands weren't allowed in the delivery room in those days, so Gordon was phoned in the middle of match of the day to say that his son had arrived. I needed stitches, and filled with gas and air, I can remember to this day, with some embarrassment, asking the doctor if he darned his own socks. Friday, the 29th of April 1977, Ian Paisley, then leader of the Democratic Unionist Party, warned in a statement that if the British authorities failed to alter its policies, then Loyalists might have to consider taking over the administration of Northern Ireland. This time the men at the shipyard didn't back the strike, nor did the workers at Ballylumford, as Paisley couldn't get widespread support. Paul was baptised in St Bernadette's. We didn't have a church to identify with at that time, and we were not yet ready to advertise the fact that we were a mixed marriage. Again, we all came home to our new house to a cup of tea and the usual accompaniments. There were no glasses of wine or alcoholic drinks, mostly because we couldn't have afforded them, and drinking in the middle of the afternoon wasn't the done thing. Paul was a placid baby who continually smiled. Not sure whether this was because I didn't fuss as much as I had done with number 1, but he still has that placid nature and smiles a lot. Okay, so he's 42 now. In June of 1977, Anglia TV showed a documentary which was supposed to have aired on April Fool's Day, but for some reason it was delayed. It was narrated by scientists who claimed that the Earth's surface would be unable to support life for much longer due to pollution, leading to catastrophic climate change. Physicist Dr. Carl Gernstein, played by Richard Marner, claimed to have proposed in 1957 that there were 3 alternatives to this problem. The first alternative was the drastic reduction of the human population on Earth. The second alternative was the construction of vast underground shelters to house government officials and a cross-section of the population until the climate has stabilised, a solution reminiscent of the finale of Dr. Strangelove. It claimed scientists had already a colony on the moon and were gradually moving there. To say I was terrified was an understatement. How could they do this and not tell us? What was going to happen to us? I think it was the next day when it was revealed it was a delayed April Fool's Day hoax. I was so upset I hadn't noticed the cast list at the end. It was called Alternative 3. On the 16th of August, the King of Rock and Roll died. As a teenager, I'd watched all his films. His first film, Love Me Tender, was the start of many, following the same theme. Boy finds girl, boy loses girl, boy serenades girl with romantic songs and wins girl back. Slushy but innocent and very appealing to adolescent girls. It wasn't a huge surprise to hear that he had died, but such a loss. Great stage presence and a wonderful voice. Tuesday, the 11th of October 1977, Lenny Murphy was found guilty of possession of firearms and sentenced to 12 years in jail. It was later revealed that Murphy was the leader of the Shankill Butchers, an Ulster Volunteer Force gang which was responsible for the killings of at least 19 Catholic civilians. As in other years, the IRA announced that there would be a ceasefire at Christmas. This would be broken on the 13th of January 1978. This will be my last video blog. I have enjoyed recording my memories and would like to take this opportunity to thank the 20,000 plus viewers who have watched over the last 3 years. I would also like to thank Gary Kirby for the excellent interpretation of my stories. My only regret is that my friend Olive Buckley didn't live to see them all. I will, however, continue to write more about my life on Chatter at apvallen.com, and I hope you will continue to follow me. Thank you.